Okay, so what do you hope for the future of the work that you engage in?
I mean, it's big dreams because undo colonialism, patriarchy, and capitalism. But I think like it feels hopeful, for example, in Colombia, to know that there is a vice president woman who is Black, who comes from the community, who has been advocating, an environmental protection activist, Francia Marquez, that even just her presence, for example, in political spheres has made so many white people uncomfortable, so many white Colombians uncomfortable, and then has gotten us to confront racism and anti-Blackness within our own communities. But also to see someone with principles running, that's so rare. I've always voted in elections feeling like the lesser of the evils. And like thinking of her and how principled she is around anti-mining. And this is where some of the connections with Canada, because a lot of the mining companies are from Canada, and the damage that it's doing to her community, and how she articulates the need to prioritize communities and lives before profit. I think it's hopeful and empowering. And if we're seeing it already at that level, then that means that the base is working. Like what the collectives are doing and the work that they're doing are forming people like her and other women who are choosing different avenues, maybe politics, maybe more activism, maybe the arts, to continue amplifying those voices. So I think I am a bit of a pessimist, but I do think that there has been significant change, and it's all being led by collectives, and a lot of the work is being led by women. And so here in the South and in the North, I see it too. If I think of environmental protection in the Wet'suwet'en River in Wet'suwet'en, that's mainly women who are at the forefront of that fight and that struggle to protect the river and their territories. It's similar to what I'm seeing here. So I think there is a lot of progress that has been made. Maybe not a lot of time to reflect on the progress because the violence is so often and so continuous. But I do think that the future that I see is promising, that I see that the younger generations, also in the way they speak about within their communities and using gender inclusive language and thinking about other beings that maybe weren't considered as part of women collectives before, seeing them within Indigenous communities, within Black communities, and Indigenous North and South. I think that's hopeful, and I think that means that we're heading in the right way. But unfortunately, I think along the way, we're going to continue suffering a lot or taking on a lot of the violence. And that's the part that breaks my heart, to think of how much we have advanced, but on whose backs and at what expense have we done that, and how much more it's going to happen, how much more violence is going to take for us to get us to where we want to go. So that it's both hopeful and also disheartening. I think just more of this work, more solidarity across nations, across colonially imposed borders. I think when the butterflies came to meet with the NASA woman, the Indigenous woman from the NASA community, and they heard that the women leaders from that community were threatened, their lives were threatened almost on a daily basis. And obviously there is violence against Indigenous women in Canada, but they were saying it's a different level. I mean, states in Canada have to be a little bit more hypocritical and make it seem like they care more than they actually do. But here it's just open. And so them feeling this responsibility to amplify what is happening. And then for the Indigenous women here and the Black women here to learn about residential schools and the 60s coup and everything that had happened in Canada and continues to happen in Canada, to feel like Canada is not this utopia, and wait, they were even indigenous people in Canada, we had no idea. And so I think those are the conversations, and that's the work that that governments, that colonialism, that the patriarchy doesn't want us to be having. And so being able to amplify that work feels hopeful, going to the question before, and feels like it's going in the right way in terms of dismantling what needs to be dismantled.